And it seems as though you do it in the most beautiful of places, like in Dahab in Egypt, and beautiful places around the world, tropical places around the world. When you're on top of the water, let's say in a tropical place, the water temperature is 26 degrees. Could it be 23 degrees Celsius?
It's from 23, 26, sometimes 28 in some tropical location like Bahamas or Asia, Indonesia.
And then at when you get down to around that 100-meter mark, what's the water temperature down there?
In warm seas, it might be just same, maybe
Oh,
1 or 2
really?
degrees less. In
Wow.
Caribbean Sea, in like a lot of tropical location, there's no strong thermocline. In Mediterranean Sea, in Europe, there is a strong thermocline. So it could be 26 on the surface in the summer, let's say August, September, but then it's 14, 13, 15 degrees at depth, like 30 meters, 50 meters, 100 meters. So it depends on the sea. In the ocean, there is thermocline. In Mediterranean Sea, there is thermocline. In the Red Sea, in Egypt, there is no thermocline. It's like very, very mellow. You don't even feel it. Caribbean Sea, there's no thermocline. So it's just different in each location. And this exploration and adjusting to the environment is part of the game.
Yeah.
And we want to get used to this environment to be able to perform. Like I cannot do the world record the first day when I arrive to the new location, new water temperatures and all that. It's part of the game. I want to get used to the environment and I want to trust the environment. And it happens usually I need a week, maybe like 4, 5, 6 days to be able to relax in this new environment, to understand the surface conditions, waves, like if there is any current or not, what's the temperature, how does it feel, what's the color,
Mm.
what's the visibility change. So like being able to adapt to all this environment changes, like is part of their like part of the trust to the environment game. And then there's trust to the environment, there's trust to the team, my safety divers, organizers. If I dive alone, I dive 10 meters, 20 meters. Sometimes if I need to do some pictures, not even that. If
Mm.
I don't have my team or safety divers, I would never do even 50 or 60 meter dive,
Yeah.
not even 120-meter dive. So there's like trust to the team, so I know I can risk my life and they will save me.
Mm.
And it's trusting my own abilities. It's part of this long-term game where like in the beginning, if you imagine a beginner, there is no trust to own abilities. There is doubt, right? Will I be able to do it? Maybe I will not be able to do this. There's a fear of failure. And then that's how we work with this trust to ourselves with training, repetition. If we have good coach who would give us tasks we succeed, small steps, then we build this trust to ourselves and like, okay, I did this dive, I did that dive, I feel stronger than yesterday, than 1 week ago. And then like, while building this trust, then we can stop thinking about like, will I be able to do this, and just focus
Mm.
on the present moment, right? If there is a fear, there is something like we don't trust ourselves. We think we are not ready. And how do we deal with it? We build this process where we can just trust that we have this ability, and we build this ability through technique exercises. We build this ability through like some specialized exercises, like low oxygen exercises, high CO2 exercises, right? So there's this. I really love this concept of trust and working the trust to yourself, to the environment, and to the team.
You got to do the work. Hey,
Yeah, yeah.
Alexey, sorry, and just on you, what is when you did the 136, was it one of the places where the water was basically the same temperature, or as it gets colder, there's a benefit because the cold water there's vasoconstriction, so it shoots the blood back quicker? Is there what works best for you?
I did it in
Oh, wow.
both types of like conditions, and the last 136 dive was in the first time I did it was in Honduras in Rotan, and then there it was super warm on the surface, almost to the point that I feel uncomfortable because it's too warm, 30 degrees Celsius, and with
Wow.
30 you don't really have very good blood shift. So it was I need to be extra attentive to like try to allow my body to get to this blood shift in time, because if it's too warm it's like almost too hot and it doesn't really work as efficient as in cold water. Cold water really is beneficial, and especially when you hit it and your face receptors feel the cold water, your heart rate slows down faster. So it's almost harder to do this in too hot, like hot in water. uh, and then second time I did it, it was in Cyprus, and there I hit thermocline. It was 28 on the surface, and it was 16, like 17, 18 after 30 meters, and I like it better.
Oh wow. But okay, on the cold now. Let's go to the one where you did it under the ice. Like, did you do that just because you know what I want to challenge myself, or it was to raise awareness for the environment of what was going on, or tell us why you went from this beautiful. Okay, don't get me wrong, in the ice is beautiful, but it's so much more, can I say, gnarly or challenging from my perspective. Maybe I've got it wrong. But you dove 80 meters down underwater, and what was the temperature of the water there?
So 80 meters Guinness record. It was fresh water, so it is above 0 Celsius,
Yeah.
like almost zero next to like right next to the ice. But then it was plus one, two, three, four. The deeper I go,
Oh,
it was
really?
closer to 4 degrees. So it was sort of
Thermodecline worked the other
warmer.
way. Thermo incline.
Yeah, because the like surface is freezing, and then the depth of the lake would be 4 degrees all year round. But then after this Guinness record, I did another dive in ice water, and it was salt ice water. It was white sea, and freezing temperature at in ice water is below zero. It's almost -2, minus 1.8, and that I felt that. So then there it was just 3, 4 degrees colder, and at the surface it was almost -2. That was much harder. And in these conditions, I did 85-meter dive last year.
Wow. And what do you got on? Like, is it in surfing, we say we wear a 4-3 wetsuit, 4 for the body, 3 for the arms and legs. What have you got on when you're doing those dives in the ice, below the ice?
It's 7 mil, and it's two-piece wetsuit, 7 mil everywhere, arms and body everywhere. But because it's two-piece, it's pants, which gets to like the upper part of my abs, and then there's a jacket, and there's overlap at the belly area and the back area. So like at the belly, in the like torso, like it's 14, right? It's
Oh,
double
wow.
layer. So the freediving wetsuits, they're very warm, and there is construction of the jacket a lot. Like there is no water entering through the neck, so there is a hood integrated into the jacket. So in this regard, freediving wetsuits would be like much warmer than any scuba diving or surfing wetsuits because of this two-piece construction.
Do you have was that one of your favorites? Like, do you have a favorite dive of all the, oh gosh, thousands of dives that you've done? Like, is your favorite that day you did the 136 at Cyprus, or was your favorite that day you swam 181 meters along or 85 meters down? Do you have a favorite dive, and for what reason?
I think like cold water is a challenge. I love
Yeah.
it because it's just so hard, and I think the most enjoyable part of the cold water diving is like when you finish the dive and then you go and warm up. So,
Can you move your
so
hands and feet? My goodness.
yeah. So you have very short time before you start really losing energy and lose heat. Um, uh, and of course, if you do cold water plunges, then you can train yourself to be able to stay a long time in the cold water. But I just I just don't do this. I really admire people who train cold water plunges and be able to stay there for a long time. I think I can do this, but I think I can stay in my swim trunks for 2 3 minutes, not longer. I stayed for 2 minutes in the ice water. In the wetsuit, you have half an hour, 40 minutes, 1 hour before you lose heat, and it just becomes too hard to dive and not safe as well. So it's just like your body cannot resist hypoxia, and you're not efficient with breath hold anymore. So it's a challenge. I love the challenge, but it's not my favorite overall experience. My favorite overall experience is warm water, of course.
Mm.
20 something in the range of 26, 28. This 136-meter dive would be my most enjoyable one. And dolphin dive, 100-meter dolphin dive breaststroke is also like very challenging, very satisfying. Yeah,
You love the challenge, huh?
I do. I do. The challenge structure life, right? If we have the challenge in the year cycle, it helps to build in trainings into the like weekly, daily schedule, and then there is this additional structure which helps to which gives you energy to do other things, other projects. So I think the challenge is like necessary part of everyone's life. We need to have challenge. Then we have the challenge date. Then we have we build back and we plan our trainings, plan our
Mm.
smaller competitions, events, and then we have the structure which helps us to feel energized and to wake up like for these trainings, and then these trainings will give us energy to do our other projects better.